Let's jump into it, shall we? So we're dipping in to a little bit of Modern this morning. And now something to note about this build is that there are notably 0 copies of a companion anywhere in the 75, so that can only lead me to assume that we're not going to be able to win a single match of Magic the Gathering based on the feedback of Magic Twitter. Rookie XP, thanks for the 22 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Now, it is worth noting that we've played a few matches with few sets with this archetype in recent memory, but they were a teamer variation. So this build has notably given up the Ren in 6 package, as well as the ability to suspend Crashing Foothills, which suspending Crashing Foothills probably isn't that big of a deal, but Ren in 6 was a card that definitely felt super reasonable in previous builds of the deck that we played. So we're gonna go ahead and dive on into some matches here now and see how it feels without those cards in our deck. Rookie XP, thanks for the 22 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Oh, Past Jeff. Past Jeff had apparently lost enough matches of Magic that he does not have tickets. No, I have 29 tickets. Why can't I join? I have play points too. The heck? Oh, it just didn't pick my deck automatically? Alright, weird. I thought I had play points. I was confused. Sorry, Past Jeff. I apologize for lashing out at you unnecessarily. Oh, Magic Online. Oh, Magic Online. Full Metal Adept. Thank you for the 33 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. That's a long time. Oh, yeah, that's true. The last build had Astrolab in it, too. I forgot about that one. Astrolab. Do. This build is electing to play Opt as additional cantrips, which is something. You know, reading and blocking a lot of people who have medium takes on companions on non-rotating formats in the last couple of weeks, I really wonder if these folks would just be happier if formats like Modern and Vintage and Legacy didn't just have start points but also had end points. I feel like they'd be a lot happier if their formats just never changed. It really feels like, yeah, like old school. Or there's another one that like goes up until like Onslaught or something like that. I really feel like heard talks about pre-Innistrad Legacy. Sure, yeah, like there's a fan-made version of Modern that's pre-war. Sure, yeah. I think, like, honestly, I think that's just like what a lot of these people actually want, and like that's fine. Magic's a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and if that's the way they enjoy playing Magic, like, more power to them. But like these people, they just don't want anything to change ever. And I get that the thing you love looking different is frustrating, but like that's like Magic formats evolve, right? Like that's the point of them. They're supposed to change. So like maybe they need to make their own formats that don't change. I choose to play Legacy and Vintage because they're non-rotating formats. These formats have effectively rotated. Yeah. That's actually the tweet that I saw that across my timeline, and that's the one that made me think of it. Like, these folks, like, they just don't want their formats to change. And, like, I can respect that opinion, but, like, that's not the point of these formats, right? Like, non-rotating doesn't mean never changing. Which for so long, that's what these formats were. And I don't know if other people remember, but I remember, you know, hearing people upset that Wizards of the Coast didn't print enough cards that impacted these formats. Like, that was a very common complaint, I recall. Yikes. The old turn 1 Fiery Isle against turn 1 Mountain Swift Spear. So, we're dead. I assume we're dead. This matchup's probably difficult to impossible. If I had to venture, I guess. I suppose we could peel a Restore Balance here. We're gonna get a few look. Whoo! Whoo! Lordy, lordy. Lordy, lordy. Hashtag sometimes lucky. Hashtag sometimes lucky. Alright, let's do this. Oh, and that's an As Foretold. Okay. Sure, you love to see it. Oh, I'm dumb. I could have... No, that's not a Goblin Guide. No, I'm right. I'm fine. I am dumb, but, like, I also didn't make a mistake. Suspend. I think that's true too, Punch, where they think a lot of people don't know what they want as well. I think that's accurate. So I think I just aggressively clear the board next turn, right, CC? We, like, play land, play As Foretold, sacrifice all of my lands, make them discard down to 1 card, and kill their lands on their board. Yeah, they, like, people want new cards, but, like, they also don't want what they're used to change. I think is super accurate for a lot of folks. This mana event is absolutely... I mean, I don't play the special events on Arena for a reason. So we're going to end up at 12 here. Virtual 10 with the Seal of Fire. But we're going to take most of our opponent's resources away here. So we get to play As Foretold. And the way this works is, this card has a converted mana cost of 0, but we can cast it using As Foretold. And Restore Balance equalizes number of cards in hand, number of creatures in play, number of lands in play. So when I sacrifice all of my lands to Greater Gargadon, I get to cast this with As Foretold. So they lose their lands, they lose their creature, and they discard down to 1 card in their hand. Hey, thank you for the very generous tier 3 resub, I appreciate the 15 months. Welcome back. And, like, I feel like this is a good example of, like, people complaining about the fact that, well, I started down a card this game. Well, just generate some card advantage, right? Like, I cast this card, and I took away 4 cards out of my opponent's hand. Like, when I feel like, when I hear people talking about, well, they started up a card and it's unfair, I often want to be like, have you ever played against the card Divination? Is Divination unfair? Well, no, Jeff, Divination's fair because they start with it in their hand. It's like, come on. Come on. I actually think, not to be like a huge downer, but like, HA3 is just okay. Like, a lot of the HA3 cards are very obviously, we wanted to play these cards in Cube, which is like, fine. Cube's a format that a lot of people really enjoy. But I feel like Serving Limited leaked into my set that I thought was just for Constructed. Definitely feels that way to me personally, at least. Well, this is incredibly unfortunate. Yeah. They're adding Cube Draft, and this was a Cube Draft set. And there's some good staples in there. There's some good ones. There's a few ones that are going to be good for the format, but in large part, this historic anthology doesn't feel like the slam dunk for historic that I felt the other ones had been, if that makes sense. Alright, so I'm going to bolt this. I'm going to Izzet Charm this. We're at 7 currently. Yeah, exclamation point HA3. I'll get you a list of cards and my thoughts on them. Hey, thanks for the 19 months, Storm. Thanks for the 20 months, Dave. Make sure you continue to get a tiny amount of Bezos money. I appreciate it. Lord knows I need it more than he does. Your mom's red sauce. Thanks for the quarter of a year. Welcome back. One of the sweet things about As Foretold 2 that's worth noting is you can use this on your opponent's turn as well. So I'm going to go ahead and opt on their turn, which is nice using this. HA3 has just many playable cards so that you disagree. Look at the list of cards in HA2 again. I agree that HA3 is probably comparable to HA1, but HA2 is a step above. So Gargi here has 3 counters on it. I can sack this land at some point to remove another counter. The shrines are there for cube. Those are cube cards. For anybody wondering why any of those cards were added to Historic, they weren't added for Historic, they were added for cube. Chat, your opponent can't leverage the card advantage from their companion if they don't have lands. Your opponent can't leverage the card advantage from companions if they don't have lands. Oh, I could have drawn stepped this, right? Sure, I don't think it really matters. It doesn't really matter. You could have dealt 2 damage there. How could I have dealt damage? I could have drawn step, Electrodominance, and then gotten a card out of their hand, but like, whatever. I mean, I'm at 7. They have like 1 card. I have a Greater Gargadon coming here. Like, it's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be alright. I guess I could have like main deck Path. If we get Path, we could be in trouble. Ventima, thank you for the 24 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. As Foretold doesn't work with X spells. It does work with X spells. It's just X is 0. And X is 0 with Electrodominance would have let me cast Restore Balance during their draw step. So I would have taken a card out of their hand, and then I wouldn't have gotten land light up the stage here. So technically made a mistake. It's worth noting that I made a mistake. As someone who has played 0 Modern, doesn't almost feel what a card do. Anytime I watch Modern, some things happen. Yep, there's definitely stuff that occurs. This is Greater Gargadon here, has the suspend mechanic, which basically delays this thing for a few turns. And when cards come off suspend, if they're creatures, they gain haste. Yeah, quite possibly Moldylocks. I'm sure we're gonna play a number of Maze's End's decks on this stream. I think Maze's End is a fantastic meme pick for additions to Historic. As far as meme picks go, Maze's End is towards the top. I'm not dead to Swift Spear here, right? Taylor's only worth a little bit. Suspend cards have haste because every playtester just assumed they did. That's funny. That's peak. That's pretty peak Magic player. So they decided to steer into the scan and not fight human nature. That's lovely. Tempered Steel and Enchantress look possible niche build around. Maybe. Like, synergy cards like that tend to not be very good in Magic. I agree that those are probably okay, like, Timmy cards. But I'd be genuinely surprised they're very good. Like, Tempered Steel especially, I don't feel like we need like a, like, I think Tempered Steel needed Memnite with it. Like, if Tempered Steel had Memnite, it might have been okay. Maybe once we get Pioneer Masters and get some things like Walking Ballista and Hangerback Walker, Memnite or Tempered Steel could be okay. I could see Tempered Steel being reasonable with those two. Nope, not there yet, Elks. I actually have like 4 Modern and Pioneer decks in the queue at the moment. So if I'm able to fill 3 to 5 Moto decks per week at $50 a deck, I don't plan to reduce that price. Doesn't make sense to make it cheaper if I'm filling at the higher price. I'd also like to lean into Historic. I think Historic's got a lot of potential, and I enjoy that format. And I also just like enjoy playing Magic Arena more. Magic Arena is a more enjoyable experience than Moto on average a lot of the time. It's just faster and slicker. Toolboxer, thanks for the 2/3 of a year. Welcome back. People ever try and submit Pauper decks to me? No. Believe it or not, a lot of people that tend to champion Pauper as a format, $50 for a deck is a little out of their price range. I don't think this is an explosives matchup. Maybe it is. They have like 12 1-drops. I'll trim a cantrip, bring in an explosives and three ley lines. Yeah, I'm excited for the Historic ladder to turn on and never turn off. You know what the top shilling count is? Somewhere in the range of 700,000, I believe. If Beansy's around, they can update us on their work. I like Anger of the Gods. This might be too slow. Let's try. I guess I could theoretically turn 2 it off a Simian Spirit Guide. I think the Spirit Guides make the Angers fine. Anger's especially fine on the play. Pauper's a slog. I liked the good aggressive decks in Pauper. Has Astrolab, did they ban Astrolab in Pauper? Last time we played Pauper, Astrolab was everywhere. They banned Astrolab in Pauper, right? So I've not played Pauper since Astrolab was banned. Man, why did Pauper get that card banned and like Modern and Legacy have to suffer through it? What's up? What's up with that? What's up with that? Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Gem Palm Incinerator can drag goblins into the realm of playability. When is the Gatherer going to let you search which historic cards are legal? Delete the Gatherer from your brain and your browsing history and start using Scryfall. It's like the Gatherer, but written by people who understand how to do proper software development. I think I bottom Ancestral Visions here. I think both Balance and Foothills are probably the better cards. I think that humans will be playable in Historic with Ziggurat. Yeah, quite possibly. At a minimum, I expect 3-color human decks to be pretty reasonable in Historic. I don't know if we can go full 4 or 5-color. You probably don't even need to go 5-color without Mantis Rider being in the format yet. As Foretold is actually an incredibly good draw, so we get to set up something similar to last game. Yeah, As Foretold is really good. So we'll probably be Electrodominancing for Rhinos to block next turn, just to keep my life total high. And then we'll sack Rhinos to Greater Gargadon afterwards, I think is the plan. So again, Electrodominance, similar to As Foretold here, lets us cast a spell with converted mana cost equal to X or less. So when we cast this for red, it basically just lets us cast something like Restore Balance or Crashing Foothills, which is nice. Really want to draw a third land here. We have 2 shots at it. Yeah, Jumpstart having a Goblins component could really push that over the top. Big agree. So with the guaranteed third land drawn, do I take one more hit from this Soulscar Mage for the sake of having Rhinos after I clear the board? That might be correct, huh? Now, the downside to that is if I wait on the Crashing Foothills, they're going to have more cards in their hand after I clean up. the upside to going Dominance Foothills in addition to buffering my life total by not taking another hit for the Soul Scar Mage. I'm also down 2 cards in my hand. But it might be worth letting them keep their 2 extra cards for the sake of... So, like, this attack here makes me feel like they have light up the stage. Like, I'm gonna have a threat after we clear the board, though. I'm guaranteed to have Greater Gargadon. And, like, I'm gonna get to sack 5 things to this, right? I'm gonna get to sack land, this. If they double bolt me here, I take 9, right? If I take 9 and go to 5, I could realistically die, right? So what's more likely? Do I die if I go to 5? Am I more likely to die if I go to 5? Or am I more likely to die if I only have this in a couple of turns as opposed to this right away and this eventually? I think I just want a full empty. I think I want to block with Rhinos. I think the fact that they could potentially be representing light up the stage here by not playing anything pre-combat with their prowess creature also makes Rhinos more appealing. Yeah, I think we're more likely to die if we go to 5 here. If we let them have a bunch of cards too, especially with the light up the stage and by not emptying our hand, we potentially get into trouble that way. So, I think I'm definitely supposed to do this double block. Yes, dying from 14-ish with no cards in their hand, or even 8, is pretty unlikely, right? And they'll have 1 card left over, right? Because I'll draw a card for the turn. We'll go land, As Foretold, Restore Balance. We'll have the 1 card we drew from the turn in our hand, but that's fine. And actually, these Rhinos, for 1 turn here, attack them to 9, which makes the Greater Gargadon exactly lethal in 1 hit, right? Which is actually super clean. Sweet. The read on light up the stage was correct there. Sweet. And now I get to pitch Simian Spirit Guide and actually just be empty-handed and, like, take all their cards away. Any cards from HA3 to add to Yarok Field? I don't think so. So, Greater Gargadon's at 3. They're at 8. They have Bauble, Land, Luris. You know why you can't hear a Terramander use the bathroom? Because the P is silent. Thanks so 23 months, said Shriek. I appreciate you. Land's actually a decent draw because it lets us Greater Gargadon next turn. That's fantastic. I appreciate you. Very solidly in garbage time. I don't know, they could have a Path to Exile, right? They have a Path to Exile. We're actually in a lot of trouble. And, like, that match there, like, game 1, game 2, in my mind, really highlights why people that are throwing a fit about Lurrus in Modern are just completely unreasonable, and I don't know what format they're playing. Like, the 8th card, most matches of Modern are not about card advantage. They're just not. They're just not. They're not about card advantage. They're about the best card advantage in Magic and Modern is killing your opponent while they have cards in their hand. When you kill your opponent when they have 5 cards in their hand, it's like a 5-for-1. It's incredible card advantage. Like, and there's just decks like this and Amulet Titan and all these other powerful linear combo decks that just don't give a crap if your fair deck starts with Lurrus in the command zone or whatever zone this thing is. Like, because the whiners are grinders, and grinders think they're smarter than everyone else and prefer to play card advantage decks. Yes, that's probably not completely untrue. Okay, opponent revealed, Yorion the Sky Nomad. Let's go. Let's go. Our hand just needs a Greater Gargadon to be perfect. Yes, Lurrus does seem to be... I don't know. I don't even know that, like... I wanted to be done pissing off Legacy players because, well, Legacy players aren't really worth my time that complain about these things. But, like, the decks that Lurrus is going into in Legacy, they're all the same decks that have always been overrepresented anyways. Delver's always busted in Legacy off and on. Storm, always busted in Legacy and something that sees play. Like, it's just slotted into these different Brainstorm decks to make them slightly different than what they were before. Like... Wall of Omens. You love to see it, chat. You love to see it. One Greater Gargadon, please. Yeah, AV is actually great. We'll top the crap out of that one. And then I think I'm just waiting on that because I want to play As Foretold and then cast AV with it next turn. Although I suppose there's a chance that... Do I suspend it now, assuming they might have a counterspell for this next turn? Yeah, I think I'm actually going to suspend this. I think there's a strong chance this gets counterspelled. Yeah, I don't know, Moldy Locks. And like, and then there's, so the two fundamental arguments against companions come down to, they start with an 8th card as one, is part of the argument. And another part of the argument, past them starting with another card, is companions create redundant gameplay. And it's like, well, we're upset that companions are creating redundant gameplay, yet Amulet Titan that basically plays 12 Primeval Titans, that's legal and fine with you. It's like, well, what are we doing? I think I'm just playing this to discard their hand, kill their Wall of Omens. I unfortunately don't get their lands, but I get to empty their hand while I have Ancestral Vision suspended. So again, would be better if I had Gargadon and killed their lands too. But we got these out of their hands, so we'll take that. We'll call that a success. Yeah, and like, when you actually do the math and look at how often you are to have even just a 4 of on turn 1 in a normal Magic deck, it's like, well, is this really that different? And it's really not. I'm actually gonna suspend this here again because I might restore balance again next turn and empty their hand out. I don't understand why they left, chat. They had a companion and we didn't. How was I ever supposed to overcome their insurmountable card advantage? I don't understand. Why do people keep not wanting to play Magic with me? Rashad, thanks for the 10 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Mystic Dispute sounds lovely here. I think this is probably a matchup where we trim some of the Simians. Is it crazy to cut my Crashing Foothills here? Teferi's just bounced the tokens. Fry hits both walkers. Yes, it does. Yeah, it also, they had Saheeli Ray, so they're definitely a Felidar Guardian deck, right? What do you think of this? Think I like it? Yeah, I think this is not a... This is mostly like for blocking against the aggro decks. Nobody comes to a comedian show and asks them not to tell jokes. And you know what? I'd be willing to go on record that companions are the best thing to happen to Modern ever if companions happening to Modern got us Splinter Twin and Birthing Pod unbanned. How great would it be if Luris was the thing that finally got Twin and Pod unbanned? Lead to a problem with diversity. Disagree completely. I think that, in fact, I think the people that are saying Luris Burn, Luris Jund, and I don't know, Luris Delver, saying that those 3 decks are similar because they all play Luris, I think those people are being incredibly intellectually dishonest with themselves and with me. I think the act of implying that all of these things are the same is the hottest nonsense. They're not. You said they're all the same flavor. They're not. They're not all the same flavor. That's straight up wrong. When lightning bolts in 40% of Modern decks, nobody says lightning bolts creating diversity problems and we need it banned and all lightning bolt decks are the same. But when a new card shows up, suddenly the new card can't be in almost 40% of decks because God forbid a new Magic the Gathering card see play in my non-rotating Magic format. God forbid. A new Magic card in my non-rotating Magic format? No, thank you. Good day, sir. Good day. Life is wonderful, -3 Karn. It's super, super swell. I exiled our Simian Spirit Guide to try and cast an As Foretold. Wow, that's just rude, opponent. Luris has changed Modern to the point where people think Remand is a playable card again. Are you going to tell me that you think people thinking Remand is a playable card is a bad thing? I would argue anything that makes Remand potentially playable in Modern can be nothing but a net positive for the format. It can only mean good things. Can only mean good things. All right, what are we doing? Do I want these cards? I'm going to suspend a Greater Gargadon this turn. I think I want the Electrodominance. I think I want both of these. I think I'm in. People playing Remand have never cared about. That's not true. When Splinter Twin was a deck, Remand was super good and super playable. That's an Arset. Yep. Sick. Alright, so we can bolt her now. Oh no! Not Remand. $695,000 shillings. Someone asked earlier how high people were on shillings counts. There's an answer for folks wondering. Bolting Narset in response here. So this way, if my opponent has a Force of Negation, they don't get a chance to draw a blue card. We could be dead here. If they have untapped land, Saheeli Ray, we die. Blazagoth, thanks for the 7 months. Welcome back. I appreciate it. You know, maybe I should have bottomed the op to try and find a land here. If I'd have found an untapped land, we'd have been better off. That's a tapped land. Yep. Could very well be dead next turn. So Felidar Guardian along with Saheeli Ray creates infinite 1/4s. Yeah, and that's with no cantrips or extra card selection, German Space Ace, right? And decks that generally revolve around one specific thing happening tend to be really good at finding that one specific thing, right? You know, I probably should have kept that Tolaria West so I could have had a 5th land tier. Well, those are actually really good draws. So I get to do this. And then I get to do this. So they shocked in. So I'm expecting a counterspell here of some sort. Okay. So Now the plan is, and this is another reason why this deck is sick. So Force of Negation is only free on your opponent's turn, but I can Electrodominance on their turn. So we're going to go to their draw step, and then inside of their draw step, we're going to Electrodominance, sack all my lands. Do I sack my lands yet? Maybe I don't. Maybe we don't sack lands just yet. Because I have As Foretold in another balance. I think I wait on the land sacking. Do I? I could just keep 3 lands. I like that plan. Let's do that. Let's keep 3 lands. Because I can always, because they could beat my dominance plus my force here, right? Oh, I should have forced that. I guess I could have a counterspell here, technically. Okay, and then, yep. And then we'll go to my turn. I don't understand, chat. We can't possibly be winning this game, right? They had a companion. I don't understand, chat. How are we possibly surmounting the card advantage that our opponent's companions are providing? The sky is falling. Magic has changed. It's bad, chat. Change is bad. Why didn't I play the 4th land to empty their hand? Because the thing had exactly 4 counters on it, and I didn't want to bring it into play and lose it, or leave them their 1/4. So, Murky, thanks for the 12 months. I appreciate the entire year. Dirty Digits, thanks for the 3/4 of a year. Okay, so now I'm kind of thinking that maybe Wizards of the Coast printed companions because they finally unbanned Stoneforge Mystic, so they had to give me something new to explain to people that don't understand how Modern works. Because I no longer had Stoneforge Mystic to be like, you know, Stoneforge would be fine, you people don't understand this format. But now we can say companions are fine, you people don't understand this format. The more Modern changes, the more it stays the same. If anything, the types of decks that Luris really goes in seem like the type of decks that, Cheeky Laturi. If you did not see all the HA3 spoilers yesterday, you can find a full link here on my Twitter along with my thoughts. So yeah, Modern has been improved overall with the printing of the companions. I think at worst it's the same as it's always been. I'm clutching my 93-94 deck to my chest. The change will pass. The change will pass. Wizards will ban the change. Wizards will ban the change. Please, please. Where's my modern safe space? The newly printed Magic cards aren't supposed to impact me here. Please, please. I think I'm bottoming this. I want to try to hit an untapped land for next turn. That might be a little on the greedy side. Maze's End is a wonderful addition to Historic. It is a card sweet memes are made of, chat. I'm not playing Hotuns. The Shrines are not playable. The Shrines are cube cards. The Shrines are there for Arena Cube. I'm not taking a Shrines deck. They're not competitive. I will take to set a low bar. Maze's End build-arounds will be more competitive than the Shrines. At least the Maze's End deck is like pretty novel and already kinda has a shell. Like the Shrines just like aren't even very interesting. On Thin Ice. They're not even good in cube. They're fine in a low power cube format. In a low power cube format, they're fine. They're not good in like vintage cube. Yeah, that's probably, honestly, I think Maze's End could see some actual competitive play as just a one-of in a Golos deck. Like, not even just, like, forcing it, just like, okay, we want a one-of here. Happy Saturday, Lucas. Just get the Shrines out and then take all the turns with Nexus, yeah. I mean, if you establish taking all the turns, it doesn't matter how bad your win condition is, right? Because you're taking all the turns. And, like, this is another, like, it looks like we're losing this game, but again, like, the fact that we're losing has nothing to do with this extra card that they had, right? Like, their card, what their actual spells are just beating us. It's just, like, an extra thing sitting over here while it happened. Your lands have cycling cards might be an upgrade for the cycling deck. It's definitely worth testing, I think. Wow! Busted! They got to double path my rhinos? Can this card get banned yet? This card advantage is completely and entirely unfair. Dear WotC, please nerf. I take back everything I said. This card is definitely the reason we lost. Please get rid of their free 8th card. We can Gargadon the next turn. We definitely can. Yeah, we played a blue-red Laturi deck in Historic. I think we 5-1'd or 4-1'd. I don't know. It was fun. It was fun, and we won more than we lost. So I don't remember the exact record, because the exact record doesn't really matter to me. All right, so they have a Logic Knot in their hand. Can I draw a what's it called? Not that. That's not a what's it called. Yeah, we're pretty dead here at this point. They're going to have their counterspell up for a lot next turn. We just can't get through. Alright, Bolt doesn't seem very useful here. Mystic Dispute sounds stellar. Trim a Simian Spirit Guide, call it a day. Thanks for the quality content. Take these, bump up Jeskai Friend / Turns Historic for me. Sounds good, Scissor. Will do. Will do. Oh, Fry is great. I'll leave a cheeky Simian in. Oh, BT Dubs. It's currently 9 a.m. If you're interested in playing some Standard today, Nerd Rage Gaming is having their first arena tournament. It's being hosted on MTG Melee. You need to be a $10 Patreon to them to sign up for it. It has guaranteed $500 in store credit for cards on their site, and they're going to scale it up to 1,000 in store credit if they get 100 signups. So that starts in about a little under 2 hours from now. 11 a.m. Central they are starting. You can find their Melee link there. We've partnered to promote their paper tournaments in the past, and obviously paper tournaments aren't going to be happening anytime soon in most places in the world. Anywhere in the world. The real Omar, thanks for the 2/3 of a year. Welcome back. We'll have to convince our friends at Nerd Rage Gaming that if they're going to run more arena tournaments, they should consider the one true format, Historic, for their future events. I'm keeping one of these. Definitely want a third land. I don't think I want to keep both, though. Fires is a busted card that can make shrines playable. I don't think so. We're looking for, at this point, we're basically just looking for a way to cheat Restore Balance onto the stack. We've got our AV over here. I guess we kind of need a Gargadon, too. Gargadon's pretty instrumental in this archetype in order to clear their lands out. Yeah. For people that aren't familiar with Modern's history, Cards people thought could break Modern. Jace the Mind Sculptor, Stoneforge Mystic, Ancestral Visions, Bitter Blossom, Bloodbraid Elf was banned at one point, Wild Nicottle was banned at one point. Like, it's honestly an impressive testament to human perseverance and unwillingness to learn from being wrong that the amount of times people will be adamant that a card is too good or will break Modern, be wrong, and then immediately say the next thing is too good or will break Modern. Yes, currently there are still people that exist that think Splinter Twin and Birthing Pod might not be okay in this format. I agree with that, Conchi Pause. I do not think Bitter Blossom would even be overbearing in Historic. For the 10 months full master, I agree. Even in smaller formats like Standard, people are frequently unable to properly evaluate the power level of what's going on. Of course there's my thoughts on things. You can always find a command in this channel. There's a command for everything, chat. If I'm being honest, Knacker, these last two Modern Leagues we've played have kind of been great. The last two Modern Leagues we've played have both been, like, pretty reasonable. For Naya Winoda with Ziggurat. Sounds good, Fox. Thanks for the support, as always. Like, Luris made a lot of the types of decks that I liked playing that previously weren't playable in this format, like, pretty flippin' playable. A little bit of a balancing act going on here. So they'll discard 2 cards and they'll lose all their lands here. No, I don't think we're supposed to respect Force of their Singleton deck here. I think we're just supposed to be like, yep. I don't actually think I definitely don't want the mountain. Do I want the Spirebluff Canal? I don't think so. Since I drew one. If we can draw another balance, we would love it. Just kill their land again. I agree with you, Tuber. I agree. But I also know I'm biased in that assessment because I hate Teferi. I think I keep this. I can, like, cast it off of this, and it's a blue card for Force of Negation. All right, finally dropped a game, but we're going to game 3 in this match. Let's run it back. To set an incredibly low bar, this league and the league before it of Modern have been more fun than I've had in Standard recently. So we'll see. Something that's going to be interesting to see over the next little bit is how does Wizards organize play for Maze's End builder out? Thank you, Fox. Sounds good. It'll probably be a Golos Gate stack. I don't think we're gonna get back to large scale Magic tournaments anytime soon, chat. So it'll be interesting to see if Wizards adapts their programs to happen over the internet. Yeah, I agree, Edge Freak. That fully summarized my statements. I had a lot of optimism for Pioneer, and then when they let Pioneer turn into Modern Light, it felt like, okay, I should just play Modern then. In my opinion, and I feel like I really need to say that part loud because people like to act I'm pretending like my opinion is facts when I'm not. I know when my opinion is an opinion. In my opinion, digital Magic is far superior to paper Magic from the perspective of competitive play. Thanks for the 21 months, Matt Maxon. I appreciate it. Not having to deal with cheating, not having to deal with coverage limitations. The Illinois governor put out what, in my opinion and my understanding of the science, feels like a very reasonable plan. And his plan would not allow for large Magic tournaments to happen in the state of Illinois until there is a vaccine available. It would not fully return the state to normal until we have something like that to provide some form of large-scale protection. And that's probably realistic. The Illinois governor was very smart and didn't put out specific timelines that they would have to extend. They instead put out goals that would need to be met and achieved to reopen things fully. Would the vaccine be covered by... I have no idea, Justiper. I assume whenever a vaccine is available, the United States will utilize it to make an incredible profit off of people. Because that's how this country works, in a very disgusting manner. It would be very, very un-American for a vaccine to happen and for people not to try and make a profit off of it. Feels bad to miss another land drop here, but I think I need to hold up Dispute/Charm here. I don't know. I don't know the science, Tuber. I'm not a scientist. So asking me the how or the logistics of it, I can't answer those questions. I'm a random person on Twitch, and my educational background is in mathematics. I am not the person to ask the how questions. No, I think if I miss, Matt, it's just the risk is too high if I miss and them sticking something meaningful. That's basically the issue. Remand, rough. But so, Tuber, so what you're saying there is you're not asking for an opinion, you're just putting it out there. And just for the sake of quenching misinformation, what you're doing there is classic FUD. It's I'm not saying it was aliens, but I'm not saying it wasn't aliens. It's things where, like, you're right, from a technically correct perspective, that's not what you said, And that's not what you asked for, but what you implied and the feelings that you elicit and the fear that you encourage by making statements like that, that's what you're doing. That's spreading fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the purest form. Don't spread FUD. I think I'm just supposed to hold up the disputes for now. I'm going to be honest, I don't really know who that is. Hokey, Vegas, Magic Act centered around tigers. Okay. And again, anybody out there that's looking for information on COVID, I would again encourage you to go to scientific sources. I'd also encourage you, if you ever hear me say something that you think or you know is not scientifically sound, let me know. Link a source, help me educate and inform myself. I try to be pretty cautious and stay away from talking about things with certainty that I'm not certain of. But I'm human and I fail on occasion. More than on occasion, if you ask my wife. Really need lands here. So this Mystic Sanctuary put a remand back in their hand, which is unfortunate. I'm going to dispute this because I can just double dispute it, and these disputes are drawing dead at some point anyways, and this forces them to fetch a non-Mystic Sanctuary here, which is great. You're not supposed to acknowledge you don't know things, right? I'd make for a terrible Republican politician. What if I really didn't want this otter to resolve? What if I was just like, no, enough is enough. The otters are gone. Hey, do your bratwurst, opponent. Do your bratwurst. This stack brought to you by games of Magic that don't involve Teferi Time Raveler. Please enjoy. I wasn't aware Counterbalance was legal. Lol. Alright, there's a 1-drop on top of their deck. So I assume this is getting remanded or something. I also have AV on top of my deck, though, so, like, I might want to wait and remand that one. HA3 was largely unimpressive. I think HA2, especially for me personally, HA2 set my expectations pretty high. And I felt like my expectations were not met with HA3. There are some playable cards in there. There's some cards that will, like, see play. But I feel like a lot of HA3 was cube cards. There were a lot of cube cards in there. Which is fine. Cube's a sweet format. I just, like, wasn't expecting it to be a cube set. How's Yu-Gi-Oh! With the kids going? So, I learned after going through these Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks that I ordered for them, hoping to teach them to play, that the person that recommended I buy Yu-Gi-Oh! Structure decks to help teach my children how to play, that person was very wrong. Yu-Gi-Oh! Structure decks are not full of cards that are good for learning how to play the game. And I was just like full peak boomer on this and just like, or I was like, oh, they're pre-built decks, sure, that sounds fine. It was not fine, chat. It was not fine. Things that were not okay. Oh, I'm so dumb. There is an oopsie mode. I'd do it here. They showed us Teferi's on top of their deck. What you gonna do about it? I mean, I'm incredibly unlucky, chat. This isn't my fault. Yeah, so I, like, as a person who has experience with games, I went through the 6 different structure decks that I bought, and, like, I've pulled 50 or 60 cards that are fairly simple out of them. And I was able to construct 2 what should be beginnerish decks from among them. Should have forced Tef or tried to. Yeah, probably. Yeah, now they have Stepcaster Mate. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Our hand's full. I should have used the Force there. We were talking and clicking and... Because he turns off Gargadon too. It doesn't matter. We're done. Is Yu-Gi-Oh! Simpler to learn than Magic? No. Their card design... the core gameplay probably is, but their card designs are not. I think that's fair to say. The core gameplay of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, if you just explain the mechanics of the game, the core mechanics of the game are much simpler than Magic. But being able to parse what the cards do afterwards is... Their cards, like... Every Yu-Gi-Oh! Card is basically Questing Beast. As someone who now owns 6 decks of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards that were pre-built structure decks that they call them, every Yu-Gi-Oh! Card is Questing Beast. I wish I was exaggerating. Tron. Do I just force this expedition map? I think I do, right? Am I supposed to bin the Opt or the AV? Probably the AV. I'm excited to just get naturally Troned after we countered their turn 1 map. I'm excited for just like the Urza's Tower next turn. Carnu. Gosh, didn't get Carned. Oh, they're playing Eldrazi Tron. Yay, bad Tron. Yay, bad Tron. I just clicked As Foretold by mistake there. Didn't matter, thankfully. So they can double block one of these. That's fine. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they do, because Matter Reshaper draws a card. Ziggurat is sweet. I agree. I think Ziggurat's my pick for most impactful card out of the Historic Anthology. All right, they have a 5/5. So our best draw in our deck is Restore Balance, as always. Is a humans list pretty competitive? There was a Mardu list that felt pretty reasonable before Ziggurat that will probably just get better with better mana. I think we're going to Brazen Borrower, bounce this Reality Smasher. We'll have to discard a card to do it, but losing a card out of our hand isn't a big deal in this deck. That's unfortunate. Okay, so this actually means that I don't want to Brazen Borrower the Reality Smasher. This is what the shatters in our sideboard are for. Yeah, four color humans is probably gonna be relatively playable. I expect we might punk them out with this Brazen Borrower here. They have a Dismember. That's unfortunate. Sure, Percy. Oh, I should have acted to Gargadon. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Well, we'll Petty Theft the Chalice at end step here. And then if we draw Balance, we could have an okay shot. I think I'm actually going to cast this for 0. Did I use my As Foretold already? I'm confused. I paid mana for this, right? Why can't I... What am I missing? Am I missing something? Did I do something I wasn't paying attention to? Is there a reason I can't use this? What am I missing, chat? No, I click on it and then it asks me to do this. This is this says 3. This is a 3 on it, so it's less than 3. It asks me to pay mana. It should give me... Yeah, this lets me cast... You guys actually can't see the pop-ups because of the way I'm window captured. Let me switch to my... I haven't used the As Foretold. This literally gives me the option to cast with As Foretold. So the client's just bugged, right? Right? I should be able to cast this with As Foretold. And again, when you see when I click on this, it shows cast with As Foretold, and that's what should happen here. I should click on this, and it should offer me cast or cast with As Foretold. and it doesn't. No, the other one doesn't work either. Neither of them give me the option. Alright, sweet. Well, I get my $10 back for the league. Thanks. Thanks, Watsy. Appreciate you. Good quality software. So, Shattering Spree is great. Obviously, bolts come out. Engineered Explosives actually isn't useful here because we can't play it out on 0 to kill Chalice on 0. We cast Brazen Borrower there at end of turn, and then Electrodominance. Yeah, I could Electrodominance for 2, and my opponent was at 7. We could play to drawing Bolt as an out. Sure, that's a good catch. Yeah, people that are new to Magic Arena and like are surprised that like Magic Arena slowly became a bug-ridden mess. It's like, oh, my sweet summer child. I'm just gonna play the last match. I don't think we'll be going for almost an hour 20. I'm just gonna play the 5th one rather than slog through Chalice. The matchup's pretty impossible. I like how the one companion deck we lost to was Laturi, and then we died to just like stock modern deck that existed before companions and still wasn't playing a companion. Like, morning mixed. So that's been good though. The first 2 matches of this set, I really felt like we talked about during them, did a stellar job of highlighting why the Luris, Yori, and generic companion complaining in this format is just very silly. Just really showed how there's a myriad of decks in this format that just could not care less if you start with an extra card in your hand. Fiery Isle lets you play explosives for 0 through Chalice. You mean the filter land? The one of filter land? You're right. If I assemble my one of filter land, not Fiery Isle, Cascade Bluffs, if I assemble Cascade Bluffs, I could technically play Chalice for 0, or explosives for 0 through Chalice. However, assembling 2 of my one-ofs is not a practical game plan in a post-board game. Let's suspend AV on one here. Why are we trying to cast Electrodominance with X is 0? So that way I could get my hand empty, so I could discard a Chalice from their hand if I had drawn Restore Balance the following turn. So Restore Balance explicitly cares about cards in hand. So if Moto was able to let me appropriately cast the Electrodominance at their end of turn there, and an untapped and drawn Restore Balance, I would have killed all of the lands, all of the creatures, and emptied their hand and left them with nothing. Alright, and hey, look at that. It's another super busted modern deck without a companion. Because they don't need a companion, because they don't give a crap about card advantage. We're definitely bottoming Spirit Guide here. I think I'm keeping Serum Visions. Sadistic, thanks for the 27 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I actually really like Ratchet Bomb as an addition to Historic, talking about the historic anthologies. Giving a colorless kill all the zombies card is probably a net positive for the format. Ooh, Sakura Tribe Elder. So they're Valakut Titan as opposed to Amulet Titan. Oh gosh, Glissa the Traitor. That card's not playable, but I would love her. That would be great. Why does Sakura Tribe Elder signal Valakut versus Amulet? Because Amulet doesn't play this card, and Valakut does. I think we're keeping Gargi, because Gargi means that if we draw a Restore Balance, we can clean all the lands out. Probably not, Seth. Karn's 4-mana Karn's not a very good card. Oh yeah, we could realistically get Glissa via their monthly Brawl card, right? That's super true. I forgot they add a commander every month for Brawl usually. We could totes get Glissa for Brawl. And for people that aren't familiar with my history, my first major tournament top 8 forever ago included the card Glissa the Traitor. So she has sentimental value for me. How many copies? 4. I didn't just like have Glissa in my deck. My top 8 was with a Glissa deck. Yeah, it was in Innistrad for New Phyrexia Delver Standard, and a lot of people were playing Lingering Souls. So I showed up with Glissas and Ratchet Bombs. Yeah, Delver was a 0 when it flipped back then. Which made Ratchet Bomb a little bit better, because it's just like 2 mana, kill your Delver. April 10th, 2012. Article by Gavin Verhey. One of Grim Backwoods in the mana base. The first and only time Grim Backwoods ever top 8'd a constructed tournament. This is the part where they cast an uncounterable Titan, and then we die. Not that we could counter it anyways, so neither of our counter spells do anything. But again, dying to busted Modern things, not dying to companions, because that's how Modern works, chat. If they have a land in hand, we're dead. If they don't have a land in hand, we might survive and draw Restore Balance with AV and be okay. Sorry, I was just posting that we beat Lurrus and Yorion, and we died to Tron Lands and Primeval Titans. And that the more Modern changes, the more it stays the same. Alright, so we get 4 draws next turn. So if we draw a Restore Balance, they could have killed us, but they decided to play conservatively. And because they played conservatively, if we draw Restore Balance, we get to destroy them. Oh, I should have looted at end of turn. Yeah, I could have gotten 2 more looks. Good call. Can do it now at least. Feels Magic Man. Feels Magic Man. 20 cards into our deck. Do I board in Leyline here? Is that real? Force and Bolt. Neither Force nor Bolt are particularly good. You want to board in a Dispute as a bad mana leak and then 3 Leylines? I mean, to be fair, it's difficult to follow what's happening in Magic Arena 2 if you don't know all the cards. Card games as a whole are difficult to parse. Like, as someone that got into Hearthstone super late when I played it, that game is also difficult to parse if you don't know what all the cards do. The fact that any card game touting itself as like new player friendly is nonsense. Like, you need to know the cards for all of these games. So we're looking for an As Foretold or a Electrobalance at this point. Electrodominance, so we can cast these Restore Balances. Steve-O Bandito. For those of you, some people saying they were new to Modern in chat, this is Steve, if you haven't met. Steve's a good guy. He got a little bit of a downgrade when they stopped having damage use the stack, but overall, we like Steve. Yeah, I think Triomes you're going to see some of. Are Valakut triggers a May? They are. No, they're not. I don't remember. At least 5 mountains, you may have it deal 3 damage. It is a May, yep. So, you have to pick a target, but you don't have to deal damage, is the TLDR. I think that's pretty natural, Fox. Magic's a pretty all-encompassing game. You can get most of what you want out of a card game out of it. Do we play around a counterspell here? Or do we just, like, try and get them? Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Beep 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 do. Beep beep do 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 do. Get disputed. What cards do you sideboard in Agents Winota when playing Yarok Field? I have no idea, silly cheese. I don't have sideboard guides written down. Probably cycle as Fiery Isle, trying to find a way to get this Restore Balance cast before we draw with AV. I actually like Hearthstone's core gameplay a lot. The thing that couldn't hold my interest was their lack of deck building depth compared to Magic. Hearthstone. What Hearthstone allows you to do in terms of combinations of cards while deck building is very shallow in comparison to Magic. The way their class system is set up, and you can't mix and match cards between classes. Winota feels unbeatable. I'd encourage you to play some more Doomblades in your deck. Don't miss this one. What was that, Dr. Jack? I didn't catch that. Do you have something you wanted to say? Come on, thing. Hey, look. We found a thing. We found a thing. We found a thing. Do 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 do. 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 Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I would like to restore balance to this once desolated planet. So they lose their lands, they lose their creatures, they discard down to one card. We're going to draw with AV next turn. We're going to get Gargadon next turn. It's going to be a good time, chat. It's going to be a good time. Oh no! They gain 2 life. That's an extra turn on the clock with Greater Gargadon. Something that we talked about with the Yarok deck, which is, again, you should put some thinking into your deck and testing if you're testing more than I have, is that it might be worth giving up the odd part of that deck in order to... Oh, I should have made a mana and cast an opt, whatever. Giving up the odd part of that deck to have more 2-mana instant speed removal. So, like, it might be worth giving up your Obosh and the Naya Winota matchup to have things like Noxious Grasp and Assassin's Trophy post-board. Could be very possible. I think I'm happy that I boarded. Let's run it back. Red Cat Melee. Red Cat Melee is a great card against Winota. The person in question was asking about a Sultai deck, though. Oh, different topic discussion. Heartless Act, Trophy, and Noxious Grass. Silly cheese. I'm going to keep this, even though it really needs to draw a land, because it is just our best possible cards here. It's hard to pass up Balance, Way to Cheap Balance, and Gargadon here. Just need to hit two mana sources to probably win the game. You're good, Lamacopter. I got it. Got it in there for you. Hey, Danon, thanks for the 21 months. I appreciate it. Welcome back. I think I'm supposed to wait and hope to draw a land here to get As Foretold down. Hopefully they like put 2 lands into play this turn, and then we'll draw land As Foretold Balance next turn and take them down. That's an arrow. Oh, they don't have a land. That's really good for us. Come on, land. Come on, land. Whew! Do 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 do. Do 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 do. How much for Modern Miracles? Modern submissions are $50. So we've got Gargies on 5 and 9. We've got Crashing Foothills making 2/4/4s next turn. You love to see it, chat. You love to see it. Got 4 and 8 over here for the Gargadons. It's possible that they had a land and didn't play it with Uro to play around the balance. But I think that's fine. This actually doesn't really do much, huh? Should have played that differently in case the opponent hit a green forest. Sure. You're technically correct. If Modern continues to be fun, do you think you'll drop the price again? It depends on what the volume of decks in the queue are. If I keep an appropriate number of Modern decks that I'm looking to play in a week in the queue at the higher price, there's really no reason for me to lower the price. Just as a base late stage capitalism thing. That's just base capitalism. If I'm keeping the volume at what I want to keep it at, then the price is probably right. There's the TLDR. Gosh, I even get to cast this Mystic Dispute next turn off the As Foretold, which is great. Just like Mana Leak you. So they're probably dead, right? Croaky stopped playing Standard because... Is that true? Yeah, I'm not going to open Twitch right now and find Croaky's playing Standard. I'm going to give you a timeout because Croaky's is literally playing Standard right now. Literally, as I speak, he is playing Standard. Would Damping Spear affect the Mystic Dispute? No, I've not played any other cards this turn. This only impacts your second and further spells in a turn. Where I see the standings for this match and this client, you can't. This is game 3, though. This league's going to be done. We're going to move over to Arena here in just a second. Nah, three to five Moto decks is about my goal. As you can see here, while we have 900 people for Magic Online right now, which is a lot for Magic in general, it's still much lower than like what we get playing Arena. Like Arena, even after the post-set hype wears off, we're still getting like 12 to 1500 for Arena, which is a big step up. So three to five Moto decks is about my goal for the week. Yeah, this felt super reasonable. I don't know that I really have strong opinions on it. I liked having more cantrips. I don't know that I really missed having green. I feel like I didn't really find myself missing the green cards. I liked having 4 of all the good ones. I'm actually not sure that Lightning Bolt is really good or necessary. Part of me, again, just like wants to be an adult and play as many 4-ofs as possible in my linear combo deck. So I would be inclined to turn these bolts into Opt and Izzet Charm number 4, just to like do what I want to do as consistently as possible. I think would be my gut instinct after playing that. I think that's about all I have. We died to Tron. The second match we lost to the blue-white Laturi deck, which was sweet. I definitely made some mistakes in it. Without Bolt, how do you beat Luris? Asking the real questions. All right, we're going to roll on into some Arena for the rest of the day. We're going to kick things off with a scotch of Standard and then roll on into a bunch of Historic. Don't go anywhere, folks. Thanks for hanging out. We'll be back in just a few. For people in chat talking about my thoughts on the Historic Anthologies, you can type !HA3 in chat for that. As always, we try to be well organized around here.